different levels. Here we go. Look, there we go. So we have the Genos, and we've got a better view this time than ever. And you can see the keys, and you can see me, and I can wave and point and say hello. And of course, I've still got your live feed. The live feed actually is behind me on that screen there. So if you, as you type, you can actually see the little messages coming down the screen, which is so clever. The technology is phenomenal, and it certainly is in this box. So yeah, I can show you across the keys, I can talk you through things, and I can obviously give you more detail. Is the video and the audio okay, guys? Is the levels, are the levels okay? Uh-oh, says Chris S. I don't know what uh-oh means. But hello, Sandra. Lovely to see you, and I hope you're feeling better. Sandra's not been too well. Let's have a look. I know what it is. Times I've been doing, Brian. I don't know what's going on here, but there's conversations taking place in the room anyway. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Yeah. So here we are again. We're back. It's Friday. It's certainly been a long day. We've spent all day in the office here, ripping things apart and doing things and trying to get everything to work. And now you can see my hands, me, the keyboard, and everything behind. It means you broke up. Audio is zinging when you talk. Right, okay, should we take that down a bit then? Is that better, John? Is that okay? There we go. Is that okay? Is the microphone volume better now? No distorting or weird noises or noisy. Right, all good here. Right, okay, so here we are. We're at the Genos. We have new screens. So I can show you here on the main display as to what we're doing, and we now have this screen as well. And if you notice, there is no split down the middle. It's one very large camera that now is mounted all the way up there, so we can actually have a full screen here. Oh right, okay, John's saying that there's still weirdness with the microphone. Is everybody is there any noise on the microphone? I can't actually hear any issues with it, with the audio here. The feed is coming through okay. Sound is fine. Maybe worth just re-firing up again, John, just in case there's something to be a bit odd there. But in terms of audio, everything's ticking the box here. Everything seems to be video quality is 100% here. So everything seems to be going okay. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why, because John's got normally a great connection, so that's a good thing. Okay, so yeah, so tonight's show is all about playing Genos, and it's using all the elements and things that I basically went through with you in the first few tutorials, and showed you how to use things like the registration memory, for example. Layering voices. We do have a little bit of a confession to make. The video that we did last week with the Harmony, unfortunately the company that we were transferring from and to in the transportation side of things has actually completely lost it, which is one of the reasons why we did this webinar today as free for those who've already bought. Yeah, Brian, good on you. Just rock and roll. We are rock and rolling. Yeah, so the webinar today is if you bought the live show for the Harmony, we're going to cover some of the elements in here anyway, and just to make sure that everything's okay. So brilliant, smashing. That's good, John. I'm glad everything's okay. Marvelous. Right, so let's go and have a look at the control. So what we're going to do. Okay, we've got some sounds here now after the panpipe episode twice that we did. We've still had requests again from other people who've kind of watched bits of the webinar, but not all of the webinar, and sort of it was very fragmented in how we did it. So we've had some requests for tunes and songs, depending on which part of the country you're in. If you're northern, it's tunes. And of course, while we're chatting away here, please suggest other songs that we can help you to create registrations for and give you ideas for. The key element to this whole process, and the whole reason why we do these, is to give you the tips and things that you need to know to Terry B, I guess it's a no-go tonight. Can somebody I think Terry isn't resetting his screen. I don't know what Terry's doing, but unfortunately I can't stop for everybody. It's just impossible. So anyway, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few song suggestions and show you how to do this. So how to create this sound for a kickoff is one. So let's take a look. Okay, so we've got on the Genos we've got a fantastic panpipe sound. Okay, so if we go here, we go into woodwind, and then we go into panpipe. If we go into the panpipe section, well, into the panpipe voice, it gives us that sound. Yeah, okay. And one of the things that we showed you in the harmony tutorial was to layer two parts and to have a double voice. So to access that, hold down the direct access, and then over here on the harmony, press the harmony button, and you will see the harmony option come up in the bottom of the screen. What we're looking here for is the duet. Okay. If I turn the left hand down so as you can hear what's going on. Yeah, so that's just added an extra element. So it's now layered the voice with two voices just by turning on standard duet 1. If you try standard duet 2, you hear the difference? And if you look on the screen, you can actually tell that one voice, the element that is bringing in is the lower sound. On the second one, it brings in a higher sound, which is a voice above. Okay, so that's how it works. So we're going to use the standard duet 2 for this. Okay, so go back to the main screen, and I'm going to go into the mixer section, and I'm going to go into the reverb and crank the reverb up to 75. Okay, will this work on a singer's vocal? I don't, just that's completely different subject matter. We aren't doing vocal singing here for this particular tutorial. Hi Terry, you're in. Thank heaven for that. And again, the other thing that we're sort of finding as we bolt things onto the webinar is that we need certain things to interact, and the keyboard would be handy. Fortunately, I've got a computer keyboard here, so we are in the process of sorting that out. But anyway, it's good that I can talk to you guys, but it's nice to have Terry back with us. But in terms of Joseph's request, no, this isn't anything to do with vocals. We are using this just purely to actually play. The vocal side of things will get covered a lot further down the line. It's not something that we are covering for tonight, that's for sure. So, okay, we've cranked the reverb up to 75. Now, in terms of the sound, again, if you've got the harmony on and we turn the backing up, so that harmony really adds. But if you play without the harmony on, yeah, you can hear the difference. Now the rhythm that we're using here is out of that pack, The Best of Europe. I don't know if any of you guys have actually got the pack, but for things like panpipey sort of styles and things that you would play sort of I don't know how to describe it. It's got sort of Irish themes, and in fact, you see on the screen, you've got sort of French, you've got Spanish styles, Scandinavian. It's all the kind of the bolt-ons that aren't in the keyboard to begin with. So the pack I actually would recommend. I got this as the freebie that came with it when you could pick a pack, go with a keyboard. And to be fair, I use it quite a lot, only for the reason that it has got these sort of nice little sort of... It's a great style. It really is a very good style. And that's the sort of thing you can come up with, and that's just using the harmony again, as I showed you in last week's edition. Now, if I was going to play something for a particular style for this, let's say, I would add. In fact, one of the nice things that you can add to the pan pipe is if you go on to write 2. Okay, here, look, ta-da. Great that I can actually show you and take you through it, and you can see the screen and the hands, and it's great. I hope you guys are enjoying this new look. But yeah, if you've got any questions, please ask on the screen, because that's where I can answer to. There's a little bit of a delay, but if you ask a question, I will get round to every question. That style is Pop Celia. It's number 22 in the pack. Pop Celia. Not Pop the Weasel, but it is a really great style. Okay, so if I was going to use an additional voice to layer onto that particular panpipe sound, you could go into the percussion and go for a glockenspiel, which is a nice little high. It's a great combination, and if you play singly, take the harmony off with the flute and the glockenspiel, which is where this is leading, because we've coming out about the shirt. Shut up about the shirt. It's nothing wrong with the shirt. This was very expensive, I love you. Cost at least a £5. Right, so we are leading into one of the song requests that we had by email, which as soon as I play the first few notes, you'll know exactly what it is that we were asked to create a setting for. So if we go into here, go into movie and show, ethereal movie. Okay. Now that glockenspiel is as dry as a McDonald's burger. So I'm going to change this and crank the glockenspiel reverb up to 80. Hear the difference? Yep. You were also adding chuff pan flute. Yes, I did add chuff pan flute, but we're doing a different song. We're doing a setting for a particular piece, which I'm going to tell you in a minute, because as I say, as soon as you hear this, you'll know what it is. So I've put the glockenspiel on right 2. Okay. I've increased the reverb, and if I go into effect, press the effect control, and go into the effect and choose delay. I want the delay to appear on the glockenspiel. So hear what's happening now? You can hear the delay on the glockenspiel. Yeah. Yep. I'm just reading the comments on the screen. You're terrible, you guys. I hope you're never in the same room as I am at the same time. Right, so we've got a delay on the glockenspiel. Okay. Now, does anybody at this point have any... No, it's not Singing in the Rain. Does anybody have any idea what this song is actually going to be, with a glockenspiel, a pan flute, and ethereal movie in the left hand? Any ideas at this point? The first person to guess it, well, you get nothing, but it's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. Come on, guys. What we got? What we got? Let's have a look. See, nobody's coming up with anything just yet. Well, we'll carry on, but come on, tell me what you think the song's gonna be. Yeah, that, as I said to you, is we're using the glockenspiel. I'm just going to recap. Volume is set on 127. Chorus and reverb. The reverb is set to 80, and the effect, we've added a delay. Now, in order to add a delay, you just press the little box above the number where the volume is, and then you can pick the type of delay that you want. So we have delay, and there we go. So, and you can increase the level of the delay by turning the dial, and as you can see on the screen, the value increases. So the lower the number, the less delay you have. The higher the number, the more delay you have. Okay, so if I put the left hand on now, you'll immediately know what this is. Do you know what it is at this point? You must know the title of this song. It's played at probably every organ club going, or at some point it's been played at every organ club going. I'll wait for a second for you to come up with some answers. But if I add the pan flute, hey, Ken and Mary have got the answer. Hey, brilliant, well done. Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West. This is a registration for that particular song. Once Upon a Time in the West. It's from the film, and I'm sure Mary and Ken, for extra bonus point, are going to tell me what the film is and who wrote it. So we have that bell. Now, if you notice, to get the effect, I'm playing octaves, but I don't need to play octaves because Genos will do this for me. If I press direct access and go to harmony, I can go and select octave. There we go on the screen. Octave is there. So now if I press, if I go and assign that to right 2, again, there we go. So just to give you a quick sort of recap on the previous week for those who haven't watched, on the, let me just change a little setting here because this is starting to bug me. The noise skaters, there we go. If I was turn that off. Yeah, so what we've got the ability to do here is, once we've selected the actual effect that we want, or harmony that we want, which is octave. So here we've got octave selected. If I press the little cogwheel at the bottom of the screen, I can actually tell it which part to assign that effect to. So if I now go to right 2, okay, that will only apply that harmony to right 2. So now I don't even have to play 2 notes on the same hand, I can play 1 note. Yeah, that's the intro part. So if I hold down memory and save that into memory 1, that will recall when I need it. So now we've got the melody. And so on. Memory, hold that into number 2. So I've now got the intro in 1. and that bell sound is really, really effective. Let's have them just again. I'm catching up on on the comments. Dear, brilliant sound. So again, use the glockenspiel, use the harmony. Make sure you use the harmony on an octave setting. Go into the little cogwheel. Make sure that that is assigned to right 2. Okay, right 2. Once right 2 is set, then that means that that harmony will only apply to your glockenspiel. Yeah, which is great. Let's give you that sound setting. Okay. Flute. We have the flute on there. We've got the registration. That's set for that particular song. Okay. There isn't really a lot more. You could add a string to it if you wanted to for the main part, but then go back to the flute again. So really, flute, glockenspiel, strings, ethereal style, and job's a good one. Right, okay, so we'll move on to our next song. Now I'm gonna give you a little tip here. This is a golden tip, and it comes to using styles and knowing what to do with a style in terms of starting a song, ending a song, in the middle of the song. But everybody uses intro for their particular piece. You'll press one of the intro buttons, 99% of you will anyway. You'll press the intro, you'll press sync start, and it'll play away merrily. It's doing its own thing. I'm not overly keen on that. I don't like to do intros 1 and 2. Intro 1 is the only button I will generally push because I like to do my own intro. And this is something that so few people actually do, and it's quite a shame because it's the fun part. Okay, so intros. This is what you need to do. Okay, look or listen to the music. Find a phrase that the piece of music ends with. So go back to the last bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. Find a little melody or phrase within the actual music that you like, that you know, and it ends on the same chord as that you start off with. Okay, so if you're going to do it, make sure it ends with the same chord or key that you kick off the song with. So if we go, let's put a guitar sound on here. So we're going to go into electric guitar, page 3, shadow guitar. That's what we're going to play with. Okay, that's the guitar sound that we have. So yeah, okay, so we've now got a guitar. So I'm going to set up a style, and I'm going to go into the preset. I'm going to rock, and I'm going to go for a rock ballad. In fact, we've got orchestral rock ballad. Okay. Now, if you started off this particular song with an intro, this is what you'd have. So you'd sound the same as Mavis, John, Brian. You would read. You would have the same song. If you pressed intro 3. You would have that every single time you started a song, and every single song would sound the same. Try to say that fast. Yeah, so I don't ever use intro 1 or 2. Okay, if you're learning or you're a beginner, then by all means, please use these. If you're, a little bit more savvy and you want to do something sort of more then don't use intro. Don't use 1 and 2. Use intro 1. And again, I'll give you a little tip. If you're going to play an intro, make the intro big. Okay, so what I do, and this is how I do 99% of my music, on the intro section, press intro 1 and it will give you 4 beat counting. Okay, then when you come to play, make sure that you're on variation D, because that's the biggest sounding, that's the all singing all dancing style. Okay, so intro 1, variation D, so it'll give you 4 ticks and then variation D will start to play. Okay, so if we do this, it starts. Okay, so I want to play now the introduction. I'm just reading the notes again on the screen. It's crazy that you're having your own little show here. I don't even need to do this. But no, if you're going to start, do the intro 1, okay, variation D, and then play the little phrase that you want. So the rhythm will start like this. That's something I've just simply made up. The song, what you play, is entirely based around the song that you want to do. Now that style, okay, and if you remember, I had the previous guitar, which is the shadow guitar on. So it's Love Hurts, yeah, Roy Orbison. So for the intro stroke ending, because you're generally playing the last few bars of the song, or you're finding a phrase that will actually work. So we've got the guitar, which I'm going to use for the verse. You would use for the if you're going to play a verse, use a instrument that is not too heavy, not too light, but has enough waft to keep its head above the style. That sounds great. It fits. It's loud enough. The backing is loud enough. It's got everything that you need. That will play the verse. Yep. So if we go and add a on right 2, we go into the electric guitar section and go for the Guitar Hero. Okay, that will make a great introduction. So if we simply play the first part of the verse even, so you got your 4 beat count in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're in. Yeah? So you see what I've done there? All I've done is played the verse, but I've played the verse with something a bit meatier, i.e. a heavy metal guitar, and used variation D as the starting rhythm point. Now, if you look at your playing, when you look at and go through the music, your style will build up towards the end of the song. So you'll start off with style A for the beginning, then it'll move to style B, style C, style D for the big end. Now, depending on the style, there's certain companies that will do a variation of the style on A and C. So you have to, this is something you need to bear in mind and you need to pay attention to. I know you've all gone quiet on the screen, so you are paying attention. Yeah, some companies will make a style that the second part, the bigger variation of that particular style, is on C. It's not, doesn't have the same rule where you will just naturally build up A, B, C, D. Some of the styles don't do that. And that particularly is the case with a company like Do Styles, who use the patterns to create a very authentic song style. So the first part of the song, the style will be on A. The second part of the song, the style will be on C, not necessarily always on B. And the reason for that, who knows? But it means that you've got to kind of play and know the song and use the style before you sort of dig in and go, straight into it. So if you are going to play, start with A as the main verse with a gentle guitar. And then build up and go to the end of the song with a very heavier, much heavier guitar. It just goes on and on and on. But that's as you get to the end of the song. The starting point of the song starts gently. Now, here's another little thing for you. When you're halfway through the song, you could use a fill-in, or remember when I said at the very first webinar, I think it was, light and shade, the two key elements of playing music. Don't have the whole thing doing the whole same thing all the way through. It gets so mundane and boring. So if you're going to go through the song, start with variation A and build yourself up. So when it comes to the main chorus, you're talking. Now at this point, I could press break or fill in and go back to it. But no, what I can do press intro 1. Yeah, intro 1 can be used for 102 things, because as you play, if you need a break or you need a little bit of pause time or you need an option to sort of space light and shade, dark and light, it's what I keep saying from whenever you hear anybody playing, you need to make sure that you sound different to everybody else, and the only way you can do that is using these controls to make your performance different to everyone. So instead of using break, which everybody else will push, it's there. Don't get me wrong, there, I do use break, I use the fill-ins, but to always sort of stay one step ahead and try to come up with ideas where, basically you're playing something completely different to somebody else. 102, name them, Noodles has just said. Okay, right, are you ready? So intro you could use, no, I'm not even going to go down that route. But yeah, you can use intro for lots of applications in different songs. Especially with things like Ethereal Movie, a lot of the pop styles have a very good break 1, and again that can be used instead of a fill-in. It just gives you that more sort of space. Are you all with me okay so far? Are you able to track this? Is this making complete sense, or are you all having a fight about look at oh, they're on about that shirt again. I'm not wearing this shirt again. When I get sort of Right, okay. I knew this having me on the video was a bad idea. I really did. So, right, let's go back. So, here are the comments. Okay, here's your feed. I can see what you've been putting, and all the comments relate to shirts. And there isn't a single question about the music, which is a bit of a shame. So, back to the main screen here, Luke. So, yep, John's with us. At least somebody's paying attention. It's becoming like a youth club. Right, okay. So, tip 1, intro. Use intro to use instead of a fill-in or a break if you're playing something. Because again, in actual fact, the style that I keep, the bread and butter style, is Ethereal Movie. I use it for so many things. If you press intro, it just builds back in again. Now, for some particular songs, you want that. You want a little bit of creep back in, especially if you're using something like a movie score, or, you know, use intro 1 instead of a break to add that difference to your music. So yeah, intro is a wonderful thing to use. Okay, so that takes us down that tip avenue. Are you with us so far? Yes, you're all doing well. Brilliant. Okay, so that's one element that I would definitely recommend. Now, piano. Okay, let's go into the piano section, and we're gonna pick the Pop Grand. And he says, turn it on. Yep, nice sound, very plinky plonky. Yep, right, harmony. Go to harmony, go to octave, okay. Go into mixer and add some reverb to the piano, because the piano, in fact, most of the Yamaha sounds come pretty dry. You have to. Okay. That's just adding the octave control to the piano. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And again, if you're playing a ballad, ballads have very nice pianos, electric pianos, strings, and various other sounds, obviously. But for a performance sound, and something that's sort of like a generic sound that you can use for a lot of ballads, I'm going to show you what I use for my ballad setting. So I'm going to go into pop, and I'm going to select, what shall we have? I'll have Love Song. Yep. Okay, so we've got Love Song on there. Piano still has the octave control on. Right, we've had a question. Do you always use Atmosphere Hall for reverb setting? No, I don't. Not always. I use it a lot, and I use the Piano Hall as well. If you go into Mixer, Atmosphere Hall, it is one of my favourite settings, mainly for the fact that it has a nice rounded, it's a great reverb. There's no other way of saying it. Okay. Now, the lovely guys at Yamaha, if you go into reverb and go into Real Large Hall, turn the damp up. Now, I'll show you a little tip. High damp is where the high-end frequencies are sort of, as it says, dampened. Okay? So if you've got a scenario whereby we have a piano you want to hear all those little tinkly bits at the back end of the piano sound in there. But if your damp is down, it brings the depth of the room in quite. It doesn't let the sound just continue. It very, very, very much limits the actual sound. Oh, he says, where are we going? Button push. Hey, I'm back. Right, yeah. So it limits the sound. So the sound doesn't continue to go. So if you play a note, that's with the damp down. If I turn the damp up, yeah, you can hear the difference. So if you're going into your effect and using any of the real controls that have this sort of style design, where it's like an old sort of amp, you've got the sliders. The high damp is the thing to turn up. I always do, just because you get the tinkly bits at the top. Yeah. So if you're going to play a nice ballad, that's giving you that high-end piano that you wouldn't normally have. It's sort of subtle, but it is noticeable. Yeah, turn it back up, and that's how I would leave it. But as who was it now? Is it David? I'm just trying to catch up on the screen here. Yeah, it was David. Yeah, David, you're all right. I do like the Legacy. Going to Legacy, going to Atmosphere Hall. I just like that sound. Yeah, and that gives you that depth and roundness. Okay, so we've got the piano on there. So we have that. Now what I would do at this point is bring in a string. So I go into my strings pack and I bring in the James Last string. Now if you're not bringing in the my pack, the string pack, you simply go into the onboard strings and you go to strings and you go to the Seattle Warm, which is a nice string. Yeah. Yep, but personally I'm going to go back to my strings because I much prefer them. So we're going to go expansion and pick James Last. Okay. So this is the starting point for the ballad. So hold that into memory. I've just saved that into memory 1. And again, if there's anything as I'm doing as you're watching, if you want to ask questions, please do, because I'm assuming that you've obviously watched all the previous webinars where I showed you how to use these controls. If not, just ask. You know, that's what the camera's there for. Okay, so we have the strings, we've got the piano, and we've got the backing. Now, once I've gone from the piano, I would go then to a guitar. And one of my all-time favourite guitars on the Genos, in fact on the Tyros, all the Tyroses in actual Telelite, Tyros 5 it came in at. If you go into electric guitar, page 3, shadow guitar. Now on Genos, they added a new shadow guitar, which is the first voice on the screen. Turn the harmony off. But that's much more of the old 60s sort of caverny sort of style guitar sound. It's probably for faster songs. The sound that I like on page 3 is the shadow guitar sound. It's a much more rounded, warmer sound. And to be fair, I use this for so many songs. It's unreal. But it works brilliantly well with ballads. Now, tip, back to the sound. If I go into mixer, I'm going to increase the reverb on the guitar, and I'm also going to turn up the delay. Now, 99% of the time, the delay is the preset effect on the shadow. In fact, it is the preset delay on the shadow guitar. But just if you increase the amount, not to that level, but if we go to about 44, you just get that sort of nice sort of comeback sound where you play and it repeats back to you, but it doesn't sort of take over the song. Okay, so again, that's used for verse 2 or for any particular sort of part of the song. And again, if we're going to add sounds on top of the guitar, if we put the string in, so we've got that. So I'll save that into there. So we've now got piano on 1, guitar on 2. Okay, so just adding delay to the guitar and adding more reverb to the guitar makes such a world of difference you would not believe. You really wouldn't. It's the difference between light and shade. I keep saying this, but the effects on the keyboard when you buy it from the box are very, very how Yamaha think that you should play. Personally, no, I don't like any of the settings. The reverb that they come up with and the amount of detail in the actual in the effects is very dry. It's very flat. It just doesn't sort of tick the box for me. So I always end up increasing the levels for pretty much everything. And again, I would seriously recommend that you do the same. It's something that it's such a minor little thing to do, but it does transform your sound. So, as I say to you, if we simply go into the guitar, over here, there we look, guitar. In fact, we're on the wrong button. There we go. Shadow guitar. Okay, so if I actually call up that shadow guitar back to factory. That's the sound you get. It's got something, but it's not got enough. So to me, I go into reverb, increase the reverb, effect, if it's got delay on it, which it has, say pop that up to about 44, 45, 46, there's no set number. we go. So very simple tip, very, very useful, has quite an effect, but it's just something that out of the box it doesn't have, you know, and these are all the things that really, when you buy this keyboard, you should sort of know or certainly learn, because it does make such a difference to your sound. Even with the little 2 monitors that you get from Yamaha, they're wonderful, wonderful little speakers, they really are. And adding delay and effect and EQ, I mean, as I said to you, one of the key things with this keyboard is the EQ settings, and there are settings on the Soundpak site. If you go into the tips page, there is actually some EQ settings in there as well, and that will, you know, that will help your keyboard sound much better. John's asking, is the delay tempo tied? Are you talking about the tempo syncing with the style, or are you talking with regards to the tempo just doing its own thing? Because if you go into the delay option, tempo echo, that will do its own thing. If you go into where are we? I think it's in the delay LCR. In the setting, you've got feedback delay, which you can again add small. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, oh, actually, in fact, I'm not even on the screen side, am I? Here we go. Look, there we go. On the bottom of the screen here, you have the milliseconds and the timing of which it will actually adjust. So if you're going to change the feedback delay or any of the settings, the little box at the bottom will indicate exactly to what level it's set to. The higher the number, obviously, the more you have. But for the delay, I say I'm going in and I'm going with the cross delay, because it crosses, as you can hear. So it moves. It's a very, very handy effect. And again, you can use it linked to style tempo. Yes, John. Yeah, right. You are with me then. Yeah, you can. The tempo will dictate how the delay behaves. It's not going to go off on its own and just create this weird unsynced style. Just reading some of the comments here. Have you got the bendy string effect on electric guitars? Bendy string effect on electric guitar? You mean that? Oh, no, actually, I don't know what you mean. There's Noodles has asked if you can get a bendy string effect on an electric guitar. You obviously don't mean the bending of the guitar note, do you? I'm trying to think what he means, because there are built-in effects depending on the voice that you use. If you use the heavy metal sound or one of the distortion guitars, that will actually bring in the slide. That sound is preset onto the articulation 1 button. So all you need to do is push that and it will actually do what you need. So I'm assuming that Noodles is asking maybe for that. I don't know. So I'm just catching up with the messages on the screen here, because it's just made me realise I need a new pair of glasses because I can't read from a distance very well. So there you go. Right, so yeah, so we've covered key elements really for playing. If you're going to play, whatever you do, don't try. That's it. They're using the waggly thing. That's it. Yeah, there's your waggly thing. That is on the presets on certain voices, and it's normally on the distorted sounds like Rock Hero. So it's there if you need to use it. It's one of those. Is that sort of the music that you play? Right, so yeah, so there we go. So in terms of the styles and things, as I said to you, if you're playing ballads and you're playing sort of gentle music, piano, strings, that sort of thing, And again, everything revolves around the mixing control center for me. I always go in here no matter what I play. I don't just call up any registration. It is purely, you know, that's the first thing I go to, no matter what. If I'm going to play, in actual fact, let's throw it open to the evening. Give us a song title, and I'll very quickly, before we disappear, show you what I would do for a particular song. Give us a title. It means the joystick. Yeah, this question keeps coming up in different webinars. That sort of bend, the bend with the guitar, or with the little guitar lever, you do with the joystick. That's how you do it. Yes, it's the waggly thing, as Noodle was saying. So yeah, it's just done with the little bendy thing. So yeah, okay, go on guys, give us a title before we disappear, and I'll quickly show you, again, just to recap, what settings I would change in order to get your sound better. Magnificent 7, this is Lawton 10th Avenue, oh dear Lord. Respect. Come on. Magnificent 7 is never going to happen because there isn't a style on here for Magnificent 7. Theme from Romeo and Juliet. Is that the... Yeah, okay. We'll do the theme from Romeo and Juliet. I think it's the theme from Romeo and Juliet that I'm thinking of anyway. Okay, so... theme, ballad, piano, typical Hank Moore. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go and we're going to use a piano. Okay, so... In fact, this will apply to both songs. David Porter's just asked for Make You Feel My Love, which this will also work for that. So we've got the piano, and as I said to you, it comes out of the box as dry as a McDonald's burger. So what we do is we go into reverb. I mean, the reverb setting on the piano is 12. You know, I mean, I've never heard anybody playing anywhere with a reverb setting and set at 12 on any keyboard. There we go, that's nice, isn't it? So we have that. That's nice. All we've done is increase the reverb. I'll go into the EQ for the piano and just brighten it a little bit by turning up the high control. See how if I turn this dial here, look, it changes. If I turn the high up, it just has a bit more brightness. Just adds just that little bit of brightness. Okay. So again, we'll use Love Song. Now to me, that reverb is still not enough. I'm going to pop it up to about 80. There we go. Nice and romantic. That's the sort of thing we want. And remember, back to the tutorial, that's a great point to press intro 1. Because it gives that gap, and if you listen to the original, there's a gap, there's a space, it's not just going hell for leather banging drums, it's delicate, and if you want a delicate fill-in, intro 1. Yeah, that works. Somebody on the chat window has said about a violin. Violin is great. You can go with a nice violin, again go into strings, and this is kind of where the Genos does hit the mark with the violins. What should we have? There we go. Go with the second violin. But the same issue. Back into mixer, reverb. Turn the reverb up to match the piano. nice and big wide sound. Perfect for the ballady style of music. Again, if I was going to do this, I would actually go with the cello. Now, here's a tip. What's wrong with my cello? Sounds too high. So, go into voice, go to the cello. Okay, on the screen, you see where it says octave? You can move the instrument up and down using the octave control. So if you turn the dial, changes 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So you can move the sound up and down depending on how you want the sound to react. So yeah, so strings, piano. You could add, again, if you're going to go down the orchestral route, you can add horns in there as well. But again, the golden key to everything that revolves around this keyboard, and I find myself doing this more than often, is to go into chorus and reverb and to change those values for the reverb. And then the effect, if it's something like a guitar, I generally will increase those as well. So that kind of brings us to the end, or yeah, certainly past our webinar. So I hope this has kind of given us a little bit of playing information that you need to know. In terms of going on from here, when you actually leave and when you go home and play, you must try using intro 1 as a way to start a song, and find a section of music that you actually can play into and do your own introduction. Don't just go away and just press intro 1 or 2 or 3 and then just let it do its own thing. Build using intro. Use intro for fill-ins. Use intro where you have a space for fill-in. And again, you'll notice that it adds another level to your music. It makes you sound different. The chat window's gone very quiet. Are we all okay now? Are we all fine? Has this been very useful for you? I hope so. I know, Doodles, I'm at home. Thank you very much, Lee. Very interesting. Great, guys. It's key playing elements, really. I mean, there are so many players out there that you can watch and listen to and learn, and some very, very good players out there. But there are, there's people who play at home, and you guys and many others who kind of, well, there is no kind of, you always try and find the best way of playing. And I always find, and this is quite common, with organist keyboard players, they're so secretive. They don't like to share. So it's look at Yamaha keyboard player website, free Yamaha pack offer. Yeah, I think the Yamaha pack offer was when you purchased your keyboard. In actual fact, if you are not sure if you qualify for a free pack for your Genos, give Steve Marsden a call at Yamaha. He'll be able to tell you. Again, I think it depends on when you bought it and all the usual criteria. So yeah, so that's good. That's good. So yeah, so in terms of playing, just try and make yourself sound different. Use the effects more. Go into the effects control panel and use the effects to add another level of depth to your playing. What we're going to cover next webinar, crikey, we've had so many requests for different things. Thanks, David, that's very kind of you, I appreciate that. Yeah, Terry B, we'll catch up with that. I don't know if Terry's already been advised, but webinar 7 didn't appear, and it looks like it's never going to appear, which is why we've given the ticket away for tonight's show. So you've got this. But in terms of the next webinar, we can do anything you want to do. We have got a list of things, and I'm going to slowly work my way through them, and then sort of take you and show you how to do various things. We've had a lot of requests for MIDI and the use of MIDI files and recording MIDI files. And we've also had requests for AI fingering as well, to find out what AI fingering does. So that's another subject we can cover. Again, I can show you. It's a new offer on it. Oh, apparently, Ken and Mary, or Mary and Ken, may have some information that we're not even aware of. So if it's a case, Chris, hey Chris, thanks. That's very kind. Thank you very much. Next week's webinar is using, would you believe, Tyros 5. We seem to have people who will not part with their Tyros 5. You have a Tyros 5? Yeah. There are a lot of Tyros 5 owners, and in fact, so much so I've actually gone and bought another Tyros 5. I don't know why. There's this thing about not wanting to change to GNOS. I don't know what the reason is. It is different. It is very different. It looks different. It works different, and maybe that's the reason. Who knows? But anyway, Tyros 5 webinar will be here next Friday. We will be going through the subjects of basically what we've done tonight, but with Tyros 5. And we'll also be showing you some of the little extras as well, because Tyros 5 has more things that you need to change, whereas GNOS kind of has covered that subject. A lot of their voices have been improved, whereas with Tyros 5 you used to have to tweak them and play with them. So it's one of those. We will show you how to get the best out of Tyros 5, including the EQ settings, which make a huge difference to any Tyros 5 owner. So yeah, that's definitely something to do. Where are we? We've got a message from John WS. What's the name of that tune you played with the piano earlier before you go? Oh crikey, John, you've got me. I know it was sung by Engelbert Humperdinck. So if you do a Google, I'm sure somebody will know what it is. Too old to learn, too tight. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in actual fact, just while I've got you guys here, how many of you have got Tyros 5 and haven't actually upgraded to anything other than you still got your Tyros 5 at home? How is there anybody here that's still got their 5 and not actually parted with it? Interesting to know, because from what I sort of understand, it's one of the, it's certainly one of the most kept instruments that I'm aware of, because normally when people see a new keyboard, it's where's my cash, hand it over. But yeah, it's quite surprising how many people have still got a 5. So next week there'll be a silver box sitting here, and we'll be taking you through the wonderful features of Tyros 5. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate the fact you're all here again. It's a lot of fun. Fingers crossed we will not have quite as many connection issues. And pity about this one. Yep. Cheers, Sandra. Yeah, I know, my love. It is a shame, especially when I did so much effort into it. Don't worry, John. If you've paid, you'll get it back. You already were here for the last webinar, so that will get refunded back to you. Don't worry whatsoever. That will be done. Versi OAX. Wow. OAX 600. Chris from Holland. I think I know who Chris is. As a Versi fan myself, I've got a pretty good idea who you are, Chris. And maybe if you're going to the Oki Festival, we'll meet there, because I'm out to Germany in October to the festival there. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, great. Well, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, and we'll catch you next week with a silver Tyros 5, would you believe? Wow. We do have some very, very exciting news that I can't share with you just at the moment, because we're in discussions with somebody, but there's going to be something really fun on the horizon. Very, very much fun, and not just me as well. So watch this space, and you'll see something new. Have a lovely weekend. Take care, guys, and thank you very much. Enjoy. Bye bye.